Welcome back to another episode of Your Daily Real Estate. This is Tristan. This episode is brought to you by Curbly, real estate news for real estate agents by real estate agents. It's KIRBLY.com. I'm getting better at it. I can spell it, which is a good thing, Let's talk about dual agency. It's something that's coming up way more. If you thought that the consumer wasn't paying attention to all of the possible changes that are coming from the settlement, right? The proposed settlement for NAR, you are wrong. Let me tell you, a lot of the listings we're taking on right now, we are seeing the buyer go directly to us and saying, hey, can we circumvent the buyer's agent? How does this work? And so we're having to have conversations in California. And look, before I go any further, make sure you talk to your broker, right? Because all brokerages, managers have different rules. In California, we are allowed to do dual agency, but here's how it works for us. We have some things in place. And I recommend that you go very, very carefully into this, because dual agency can cause a problem where one side, one party, buyer or seller, can think that you are serving the other side over the other side. So a simple solution that we have to dual agency is anytime I have a listing and I have someone coming in and saying, Tristan, I'd like to submit an offer. I'm not represented. I say, great. You are going to be represented now, not by me, but by someone in my brokerage. Here you go. This is their name. This is how it's going to work. And then I tell the seller, hey, this is happening, right? And this is why. I have a fiduciary responsibility to you. And it's hard for me to keep that when I have a possible situation coming in from the buyer that this and that and this and that, right? So make sure that before you take the listing, when you have some type of an agreement with the seller, that you have this conversation with them and say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, or Mrs. Seller, or Mr. Seller, this is how it works. You know, there's going to be dual agency opportunities here, but here's what I want to do, and here's why. If you put it out there and you explain the process and you say, hey, these are the things that I've gone through, or better yet, go to your broker and say, hey, broker, what are some situations that you've gone through that I can share if I don't have any of those experiences? And your broker can say, well, this is what I've gone through. This is what's happened. And then you can go back to your sellers when it comes up and say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, Mrs. Seller, Mr. Seller, this is what my broker has gone through. I don't want you to go through the same thing. In fact, I don't want to be in that situation. It's not good for you. Here's why. Now, that's how we do it. And so I'm letting you know, because from our experience, it's provided more challenges over a longer period of time than the benefits. And so for you, when you're paying attention, just take this with a grain of salt and say, wait a second, with dual agency, how can I do this to protect my clients? How can I do this to protect me? How can I do this to protect my brokerage and to protect everyone involved better? We'll talk tomorrow.